For the first time since 1988, we have a team sweeping the front row for the Indianapolis 500 in record-setting fashion. Scott McLaughlin turns in your fastest ever four-lap average to start on pole for the Indianapolis 500, pacing his two Team Penske team members, Joseph Newgarden and Will Power. That is your top story for today's Pit Pass Live. I'm motorsports insider Nathan Brown from the Indianapolis Star. Here's a little bit more. Scott McLaughlin, a four-lap average again of 234.220. That is just barely ahead of Alex Palou's previous mark from a year ago of 234.217 miles an hour. Team Penske, in particular, Will Power, has predicting this front row lockout for more than a month now. He first told us at a press conference in Long Beach he was predicting it. He said that he would be utterly shocked if Team Penske didn't have at minimum a car on pole, and thought that they had the three cars, three engines, and three drivers for a front row lockout. We see it now for the first time since 1988 when Team Penske did it with Rick Mears, Danny Sullivan, and Al Unser Sr. Scott McLaughlin does it, bringing the Yellow Submarine back to pole, just like Rick Mears did that year. Let's rattle through again those fast six finishes. Team Penske just pacing the group, had speed like we had suspected yesterday, but speed that none of their other Chevy competitors, and certainly none of the Honda teams or drivers or cars had. Power second to Scott, 233.917. Joseph, 233.808. Alexander Rossi, 233.090. Kyle Larson, 232.846. And to round out your fast six on the outside of row two, Santino Ferrucci, 232.692. After that drama, we got a chance to talk to Scott McLaughlin and Will Power in the media center to debrief a little bit on what those last-minute runs where Will sat on provisional pole briefly and Scott McLaughlin overtook him in the final seconds, what those were like, what they were feeling, and what this moment means for Team Penske.
I just want to get out of the car as fast as you can. You go back into the procedures and making sure it's all right, but at the same time, you're looking around, and it's the first time you sort of enjoy and soak in the crowd. And I felt like we had a hell of a crowd here today. Around the banks, and then even at 4 and down the front straight, it was incredible. So just soaked it in as much as I can. You just never know when this moment will ever happen again. Especially at this place, as the boys said, it's pretty weird joint. So but then when you get out of the car, you celebrate, and we'll enjoy this. But it's hard work next week to make sure we win the big one.
No, it's just I just keep getting seconds this year, but I'm not sure I'll ever get this pole for some weird reason. I just think it's one of those things, where racing gods go, yeah, you can have the pole record, but you're certainly not going to get this one. So that's just the irony of life, And it's not like I said yesterday, it's not the end of the world if I don't. It's just a box to tick. It's a good one. Obviously, the race win is much bigger, but the 2 days of qualifying is very stressful. It's you put a lot on the line, and it's really hard to have the quickest car and the quickest team on that year. To put all that together, it's a lot of things that have to align, and that's very difficult because you see every team, there's one car that just seems to be a little bit quicker for whatever reason. But I have to say that our cars have been the closest they've ever been. So it shows the quality control that we have.
On the other end of the spectrum, we had lots of drama, but a lot of pain too in that last chance qualifier sandwich in between the Fast 12 and the Fast 6 today. Nolan Siegel becomes the lone driver in this 34-car field to not make the 500 this year. He is, of course, one of the 7 Indy 500 rookies that we started with this year. He is a part-time competitor. This was to be just his second IndyCar points-paying start. He is a solid championship contender in Indy next this year. We will see him again at Toronto. A valiant effort from the young Dale Coyne Racing driver, just 19 years old. A lot of great things certainly in store for him. He was searching for speed all weekend after his Fast Friday crash, climbed a little bit from run 1 to run 2 on Saturday from 226 to 228, was in the 229s during practice on Sunday morning, put it again in the mid 229s, I think 229.566 in his first run in the Last Chance qualifier, and was in the field for the time being. But that was until Marcus Ericsson came in from the outside and bounced him out. Ericsson, the 2022 Indy 500 winner, had a massive brain fart during his initial run in coasting after the end of his third lap instead of the end of his fourth lap. A miscommunication over the radio turned in a run averaging 220 miles an hour after running through. Of course, that was going to be way too slow. He went out again, coasting through a couple laps to try and cool down his car, and then went out for the final time with just under 8 minutes left. He put it in 32nd, putting Graham Rahal on the bubble. Nolan Siegel then went out hoping to be able to find roughly another half mile an hour or so into the high 229.9s or even into the 230s and bump Graham Rahal out for the second year in a row. Fortunately, Nolan Siegel, after a lap of 229.2 that wasn't going to be fast enough, pushed it a little bit too hard into turn 1 on lap 2, spun out and crashed for the second time in 3 days. He is okay. He spoke with us in the media center afterwards, obviously gutted, but again, a bright future ahead for this young 19-year-old, and I would expect to see him full-time in IndyCar next year and moving forward. That's a crazy weekend, drama-filled, action-packed. We had 90,000 fans across 2 days here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's the most the track has hosted for qualifying weekend in more than a decade. Great stories to write, stories yet to write. Great coverage continuing to be on our website at indystar.com. Be sure to go check that out. We'll have lots more stories in the coming hours, coming days, leading up to, of course, the greatest spectacle in racing on May 26th. That's today's edition of Pit Pass Live. I'm your motorsports insider, Nathan Brown.